Hello, this is Eileen, the environmental educator, and in this video, we're going to talk about a national public servant who likes to make some headlines, and she was just caught in a Zoom telling climate activists to be more aggressive, and that's Rashida Tlaib. I'm not sure I'm saying that right. So this was in a video obtained and released by the Daily Mail. This is June 19th, 2023. So that was yesterday. Justice for all. Oh, yes, she is a member of the squad. She's very scary person. And so she urged climate activists to be more aggressive in their efforts to halt the use of fossil fuels. And she was speaking with 125 activists from Climate Defense, Declare Emergency, and other environmental groups. The groups have made headlines for their disruptive protests, vandalizing art, and blocking roadways. Climate Defiance recently protested the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And she said we have to be much more aggressive in fossil fuel expansions. And she, it was just very, very scary. She praised the groups for their work, and she said she fears people are becoming complacent on environmental issues. It was in this. I'm not even going to play this 11 minutes for you. I'm just going to play something very important in it, because this was nothing. She just talks and says nothing. But what she did say in here is that if we don't get the policies we need, if our legislative process is failing us, then direct action gets the goods. And the Don't Look Up, that was a movie that came out recently. The director was also in the virtual talk, and he pledged $100,000 to help activists push for an end to fossil fuels in the U.S. You know what would end fossil fuels in the U.S.? That's right, simply not using them. Okay? How much of our disposable society is plastic, which is oil? Okay. We could gain individual cooperation and cut our energy demand just by cutting off what we're not using, what we just absolutely abuse. How about hemp? Have you ever heard her talk about any of these? No. And you never will. Okay. She's, this is Declare Emergency. It's a Seattle-based organization, discussed plans for protests on federal property and clarified they would be massively disruptive, but nonviolent. Oh, okay. So a national public servant who was outraged at a recent event, on federal property, had no problem at all with all of the federal property that's been vandalized in the past few summers, burnt down, billions of dollars worth, I read, damaged and burnt down. And, she doesn't have any problem with that. But, They say that doing massively disruptive, nonviolent civil disobedience, it's a necessary and important part of getting us where we need to be. Now, all of these people are just radicals, because if any one of them had an intelligence, they would actually have solutions, just not demand that we don't use fossil fuels, and then that would end society as it is. But we can have society as it is and live responsibly. They're just not smart enough to figure it out. And even if they were presented it, they, like everybody else, would be as uninterested in solutions as everybody else. So, yeah, we're going to put her to the test here at the end of this. But here's a Daily Mail article, which says here they're planning a chaotic summer of protests like those seen in Europe, and they're planning to bring them to America. So, courtesy of a national public servant. Okay. So, it says here, as they plan a campaign of blocking highways and chaotic protests later this summer. So that's always good. Blocking highways, that's good. Yeah, that makes people happy. That gets your point across. No, that makes you a fool. Right here, and it says that they heckle politicians at speaking engagements, and they're understood to be plotting much larger European-style climate protests later this summer. Okay, and here she is at an oil pipeline protest. Yeah, she talks about how Biden has, let them down with oil protests, and this guy here, Tim Martin, was in on the call. Just radical people who do stupid things. They have exactly no solutions, and their actions have nothing of benefit. Okay, they're just ridiculous. But in this talk here, we're gonna play just a little bit of it. But in here, she says how Biden disappoints, especially with the pipeline, and she criticizes that. She tells people they have to be loud. Things aren't moving fast enough. It's time to shame people. Speak truth to power. If the legislature fails, then you have to take direct action. She talks about declaring a climate emergency. Okay, and right here is, okay, right here is where she talks about direct action. Now, listen to this.
If we don't get the policies we need, if our legislative process is failing us, the direct action gets the goods. I've seen it over and over again here in my backyard in Detroit, where we birthed movements over and over again. When they told us shutting off water of thousands of people in our community, we brought the United Nations in. We kept pushing when the city administration wouldn't recognize it. And we kept doing it until people understood that this was a huge crisis in our community, and it was impacting not only Detroit, but around the country. And so, we're not going anywhere, y'all.
Okay. So the important point there is she's in Detroit. It's a decision affecting thousands of people, she said. And when the city didn't respond to their activist demands, they went right to the United Nations. They didn't go to the county. They didn't go to the state. They didn't go to the federal government. They went right to the United Nations. Okay, so that's really the most important thing that was in this 11-minute thing here. She's very scary. She's obviously a globalist, I think we can say, directly from Detroit, because a few thousand people, and I'm not saying having water cut off is not an issue, okay, but directly from the city of Detroit to the United Nations. That's a big leap, but she's not on your side. And now we're going to find out if she's actually interested in solutions. Now, if you go to her website, on the contact page, it says, let's check that you're within this district. House rules say that we can only serve our own district's residents. Not a residence? Look up your representative. These are national public servants. She is out here talking on a national level. Okay? What she does in the capital of this country affects citizens from all over. So this is ridiculous that you cannot let your opinion be known or contact another public servant that isn't your official elected representative, okay? Because they all impact your life. And especially when you're me, who has the light years best environmental education and agenda that the world needs, that she's crying out for. So she does give some phone numbers here. So,
thank you for calling the office of Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, representing Michigan's 12th Congressional District. Our office hours are from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Please listen to the following options carefully. If you would like to share your opinion with the Congresswoman, please press 1.
Okay.
If you are a
So
resident,
we are pressing 1.
please leave your full name, address, and the best way to get in contact with you after the tone.
Hi, Rashida. This is Eileen Connors, the environmental educator, environmentaleducator.org, environmentaleducator@yahoo.com. You have my phone number on your machine right now. I'm including this message I'm leaving you in a video I'm making about Rashida and the climate protest this summer and how we have to, get radical, but we don't. See, I have the late year's best environmental education and agenda that the world needs. It's just that no one has allowed solutions since November 93. You want to end fossil fuels? Let's end our disposable society. Let's get the country on hemp. Let's get actual real solutions implemented. That would do a wonder of good for eliminating an endless amount of toxins and chemicals and transportation and processes and packaging and transportation packaging, and along with gaining individual cooperation and ending environmental illiteracy and utilizing hemp for everything. Why isn't America leading the hemp revolution? Why isn't no one in Congress ever talks about that? So I have the solutions the world needs that every environmental voice, every public servant, governors, presidents, congressmen, national public servants, Bobby Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy since 98. Since Joe got his work, my work, past Gore's subordinates to Gore years after I'd been trying. And I randomly met his brother. And then Bobby tried to get on a chairlift with me. And he was stopped by Vail Resort's top management, who put his arm out in front of Bobby so he wouldn't. But Bobby knows that he's not leading the world. No one is. Mr. B.S. Bernie Sanders. Oasis crazy. No one will. I'm the solutions the world needs. Rashida needs to contact me. environmentaleducator.org, environmentaleducator.
Your message, press 1. To send your message as urgent, press 2. To re-record your message, press 3. Thanks.
I press 2.
Thanks for calling.
I press 2. So there it is. I left her a message. I am sure I am going to be getting a phone call back. And by sure, I'm certainly not holding my breath. How about that? And she's going to be like everybody else who has absolutely no interest in solutions because they don't have to be. And she'll just go right to the UN, I guess. I don't know, a very scary woman. And she's looking to bring pain and just ridiculousness to your life this summer if you happen to be in one of the areas where the lunatics that she is encouraging to go out and protest and do stupid things, vandalizing art and blocking highways, are out there doing that. So remember that when this is going on, it's because a national public servant was encouraging it, and that same national public servant has the exact same no interest in actual real solutions that would achieve as everyone else. And I'll keep harping on her. I'll keep calling until they block my number, like it seems Kevin McCarthy did. Okay, stay tuned, people.